Hey everyone, so I decided to make one of these me talking into the camera videos that are all the rage, and I mostly am doing it for two purposes. Purpose number one is essentially for my gamers that I know through Master Hand Gaming. We just recently had an event called GameChanger, and I'm planning on just going through, what went well, what didn't go well, what I sort of think for the future, and I found myself writing this stuff as like a post on Facebook, and then like I was gonna direct it from Twitter to be like, hey, check out this Facebook post, but it just seemed like it would be much easier to do one of these videos. Purpose number two, there's so many people I've just lost touch with, or people that when I see them, I'm just running around, just kind of doing my thing because I feel like I'm always running around these days, and I don't really get to talk to in the depth that I'd like to talk to them. So this feels like a good way to sort of catch them up to speed too. Right. So back to the task at hand. I'm gonna basically just jump into the gaming stuff, and anyone who wants to stick around for any other, I guess I'll call it sort of personal stuff, as much as it's not really intended to be super personal in that way. For anyone who's interested in that, can kind of stick around. So, Game Changer. It was super cool. There was 100 plus people there at one point. We had 86 entrants for the Wii U singles. We had, I think, I want to say 7 or 8 people out of the New Jersey PR that just came out in attendance, including DMG James, you had Mutiny Apple, Angel Cortez, you had Chaos was there. Um, geez, False was there. It was all these guys were there. It was nuts. And overall the space was great. The setups were pretty good. The Game Changer had all these TVs, and they're not gaming monitors, but they're TVs for us to use. And since I basically just started all of this, a little bit more than 2 months ago, maybe 9, 10 weeks ago, it was a good find. It was a good find to have for a tournament where I wasn't sure if I was going to secure setups, yada yada yada. But anyways, I'm digressing. So anyways, tournament it ran well with some hiccups. The hiccups were sort of things that are easy fixes. So the way the tournament ran, we ended up with pools. We didn't even know if we'd have enough people to do pools at all. So we ended up with 7 pools, I think, yeah, each having however many people were in them, and they ran well once they got moving. But to start, we sort of rearranged the room last minute because, Taz from Just Smashing was sort of like, oh man, like we have 7 tables, there's going to be 7 pools, why not have one pool per table? Like, which is a fantastic idea, especially on the fly like that, because there was a lot going on at that point. And so we rearranged the room, and I didn't think to come prepared with labels for the table. At that point, we were just trying to get matches called, so trying to run off and find like a note card and Sharpie, like it was kind of tough. So anyways, that was one of the things that I would say didn't go super well, is the tables, all that stuff wasn't clearly marked. Meanwhile, we had one pool per table. I don't think everyone really knew that. So that kind of thing is going to be easy to put up front next time. Speaking of which, even the next time, just the way the whole registration table is going to be set up is going to be different. We'll kind of have 2 sides to it, so that way we could have one side for reporting, one side for basically pool questions. And plus, then that way we don't have people walking behind the TOs, because it is super frustrating when you're just trying to, you have someone talking to you in front of you, asking you something, and you're looking at the computer to answer their question. Then you have someone literally over this shoulder saying, do you know which pool I'm in? Then another person over this shoulder saying, oh my God, this happened during my set, and or just trying to talk to you about anything. It's a lot to handle. So with that many people, it was tough. So just from a preparation standpoint, I'll make sure the tables are closed off there. So that's problem number 2, easy fix. Let's see, what else was an issue? So the internet, that is I would say the bigger thing, which is really unfortunate because the venue is great. There's a lot of space. There's like a cool little side room for, we had PM there. We're gonna have Melee there next time. And then there's like this stage area that we had where we had basically two monitors facing and the players playing each other. And I'll definitely get those pictures up soon. But yeah, just good space. But anyways, the internet just, it was the provider. So basically the bandwidth at the venues, fantastic. But the internet is I don't know, they probably don't pay for the best plan. So basically the connection gets throttled and then the stream cuts out. And when the stream cuts out, the monitors cut out that the players are playing on, which can have happen, especially not towards the later rounds, because A, no one's ever going to want to come back if that ever happens, and B, that's just can't happen. Anyways, so what the solution is, I'm working with the venue now to basically see about upgrading internet and kind of just negotiating with all that kind of stuff. Which leads to the next issue. No outside food or drinks in the venue. Like, that is like a huge rule for them, and which is understandable because it's how they make their money, and it's you know, it's a venue. It's for big events, and that's the way it works. So that being said, it was tricky because no one really knew this was going to be a thing, and this was all, keep in mind, this was thrown together in under a month. So even my dealings with the venue were kind of quick, last minute. They were excited about it, I was excited about it, but then we got there for the day, and it ended up being a super long day. They didn't necessarily even know food was going to need to be prepared, so they got everything up and running, and you know, it's snack food, so people obviously want to go out and get other kind of food, and none of that's allowed inside. So essentially at the door, these things that people were bringing in were either just thrown out or couldn't be used, and it sucked. Like, that part sucked. No bottles of water, so you had to buy water, which got a little pricey. And yet another thing I'm working on with the venue. Believe me, I know you're in a room all day, staring at monitors and hanging out with people, and nothing worse than wanting water and just not being able to get it. That's bad. So anyways, that's going to be an issue that'll be resolved for the next time, one way or another. So that's that issue. Now off to some more positive things. I know the stream didn't work, but just a lot of the replays we got, they were great. The matches, top 16 was a lot of really good gameplay, really good stuff. And I'm looking forward to getting those up. It would have been cool to be able to have people actually tune into that, but again, next time, and I know next time is going to be great. And I guess I'll just say it now, unofficially. We're probably going to do October 23rd at GameChanger again. I think it'll be a good time either way. There's a lot that we need to figure out, and a lot in our future, which I'm going to start getting into now and off of the tournament, which I'm sure my friends and family who are watching are probably itching to hear. But basically, there's just a lot of things that need to be figured out with where I'm going with my business and what I want to do, and I got to decide basically what fits and what doesn't fit. So I basically started this whole, oh yeah, by the way, shifting gears now, this is me in personal mode. So tournament stuff's mostly over. To wrap up that, 8 or however many minutes I spent talking about that. Really cool attendance, really cool energy, really cool venue. But there's some issues with internet that needs to be resolved because we need this stuff to be online. Like, that's a must. And then, things like just being prepared for the amount of people we're going to have, and the setups we have, and just the people that we have working on them. Because that's another thing before I exit the subject entirely. Everyone really stepped up for this event, everyone I'm working with, because no one gets paid for this stuff. This is all people working off of their passions, and all people who really believe in gaming and see the merit in it and believe in the whole thing. They all really chipped in on for this event. I would have been sunk without basically any of them, and there was a good chunk of people helping with this, between setting up the systems, between just arranging the setups, to calling the matches, to running the side tournaments. Like, there's so many things that people were doing, and then me just kind of running around just trying to make sure that the matches are going on time, and that the stream is working, and then that people are eating and drinking, and like there was a lot to manage there, and there's a reason that this video did come out, you know, Thursday when that all happened on Sunday. It's because it was exhausting, mentally, physically. I'll even jump in and say, like, spiritually, just the amount of like personalities and energies you deal with in something like this and the scale of it. It's big. But that being said, it's really cool and it really kind of gets me going all at the same time. I thrive off of it, but after something like that, I just sort of needed to recover. So, right, I really just want to thank everyone there. Like, it's hard to thank everyone individually, and I know there's a lot of people who did a ton there that maybe I don't even realize yet, and you know, we'll get there. But even then, like, I'm fortunate that the event went as well as it did. Everyone sort of came together, from the venue employees to the TOs to the players to people that just wanted to see this go well, the commentators. Yeah, I mean, it was really pretty cool. So, all right, now I'm getting out of that. This video is getting pretty long-winded at this point. So, right, taking a big step back, which is why I'm making this video in the first place, is to make sure I don't have to do this as much. So this is kind of like a checkpoint for people to know where I'm at, and they can kind of follow along if they want to or don't want to. But there's so many people I've lost touch with that it sucks, because stuff like this would have been so awesome to talk to them about. And, you know, I know I'll see them when I see them, but the amount of just BS that I'm going to have to catch them up on before I get to, you know, the meat and potatoes of what I'm doing now and what I want to do with my life, I just want to be able to talk about that. I want to be able to keep moving forward with good momentum and sort of keep on track. So with this sort of being the checkpoint, yeah, so I decided to start this gaming business, and I'll come out now. I didn't want to do it in the beginning of the videos. I really wanted to address myself and say, like, hey, Chris here, aka Poopems, because Poopems is actually my gamer tag, which is, I hope all of you are collectively smiling, as I'm smiling right now, because of just how silly it is. And it's, I don't know, if I could create a world where I could be taken seriously and make, like, a big address with my name being Poopems, like, that, I don't know, that's the world I want to live in. Like, just things are, I got pushed to where I'm at right now mostly because people just take things way too seriously, and just sort of, I think a lot of times us collectively as humans just really miss the point of existence to some extent, where, I don't know, you got to be doing the things you want to do, and we're fortunate enough to live in an age where you can find other people that want to do what you want to do and believe in the things that you believe in pretty easily. Well, easily in a sense where you can do it, but not easily in a sense where you got to break over some kind of serious personal things first before you're ready for it. Because even being on camera right now, like, it's a little unnerving. I've kind of warmed up finally. I've never even done anything like this. I don't even take selfies. Like, it feels weird to me. Like, even now it feels weird, but as I'm going now, I feel a little bit better. So anyways, video games aren't quite there yet. In terms of being necessarily, like, accepted. Like, they're accepted, but, like, you know, there's plenty of parents who will just scoff at the thought of their kids playing it, and then there's just, you know, a lot of people would be like, oh, why would I waste my time on that? And I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to do is essentially squash that. I think that something like video games can be a huge, you know, huge opportunity for the future, and the way basically, you know, people treat each other and see the world and relate and sort of express themselves. Because, you know, let's face it, reality, what it is right now, what we all agree reality is, it's not always the coolest thing in the world, and it's not going to be. However, when you have something like a video game to really sort of express yourself and to connect and to sort of relate to other people and to put life in the reference and to understand certain things, like, I know it sounds like I'm really hamming it up in like a stretch here, but it's the truth. Because when you watch like really high players play and see the way they condition each other and the things that they're able to pull off on the, you know, basically on the fly as everyone's watching, like, with the, you know, it's impressive. It's no different than being able to play any other game. It's like, you know what I mean? You're playing a high-level game of one-on-one street hoop. Like, it's no different. Or, you know, there's a reason that ESPN's starting to cover this stuff now, because we're definitely starting to break that wall where, you know, athleticism and pulling off like impressive things against an opponent in some sort of like rule setter game, like even the Olympics that are going on right now, like it's something we all like, and it's because there's stories in it. And that's the one thing I've noticed when I started this whole thing are sort of the stories, because the demographic doesn't exclude anyone. It allows you to be, 12, 14, awkward, or it allows you to be like 28 and just sort of trying to find his purpose, or, whatever we want to call this. Um, there's all kinds of people, and then the average age is pretty young, I mean, well, not the gaming average age. That's a whole different topic, which I can't even touch right now because like this video is already so long. But I don't know, it's just finding something about that and then being involved and just having it as a reference point for life it's something special, and I think it's something that a lot of people miss, and I think it's something that it's kind of why I started this business in the first place, is to sort of show those stories. So I don't know. I see the merit in it. Obviously, there's the obvious dollar signs that people think of immediately, like you get this to a point of any other sport, and then you have the betting, the this, that, the other thing. Like, that stuff's cool. I don't really care. Like, but, and like, I don't discourage betting. I think it's cool that people get into it enough and relate to the people doing these things enough to actually go out of their way to do it. For the people trying to make a quick buck. Like, it's still like a fun game. Anyways. So, another digression. But anyways, I think people sort of miss that aspect. So within this whole thing, as I organize these events, I'm really going to try and put the emphasis on the community of players, because the scene is what it is. It's going to grow as it grows. It's going to grow as the players grow. So with that being said, the players need to grow. So what I want to do is provide that sort of outlet, and sort of I'm trying to build it into something a lot more than just like the streaming and media company that I'm calling it right now, because that's what it is, and it's got to start somewhere. So the ambition's pretty big, and I'm not even going to go into detail as to what exactly I have in mind. But the drive's there, and it's what I believe in, and I do genuinely believe, like in my heart of hearts, that I don't know, the future is going to be changed by this stuff. Just having people able to relate with one another and sort of be able to just do that and not have to be judged about anything. Because there's like, there's a stupid like stereotype of gamers being awkward and this, that, the other. Well, we are very awkward. I'm being super awkward right now as I speak. But basically, there's I don't know. It's a big demographic, and yeah, you usually kind of get lumped in with like the fat Cheeto fedora, like the whole nine. And it's silly that it's like that, because there's a lot of super normal people that play games and see merit in it, but like, where do you even begin on a topic like that? You know what I mean? Like, you basically begin, I guess, with the streaming and media company, where you could show the people actually playing. But again, step backward here. It's I don't know. It's something special. I know people see it, but it just doesn't happen yet. But the games are there, the people are there, and I think the reason that the demographic does get the name that it gets is because it doesn't exclude anyone. So the people that it doesn't exclude, where it kind of becomes this big point for them to understand and relate to people, it comes out more because they're going to talk about it more because it's what they know. But like, when you're in the community of people talking about those things, it's amazing. Just watching the way people interact within the scene and the community, and the way everyone wants to help each other improve, and just playing each other and critiquing each other, and even the people that don't necessarily get the wins, like, you'd still tell how good they are, but like, their next step in their life is basically figuring out how to get past just caring about winning and just playing. Like, everyone improves at their own speed. Everyone has their own measure of success. There's obviously an agreed upon measure, which is going to be big tournament results always. But like, there's a lot more self-development that goes on when trying to just master something like a video game, because it's like trying to master anything else. Everyone has hobbies, right? So mastering that hobby sort of becomes you, and just your reference for understanding what it's like to sort of see the world around. So that's something that I guess I'll call it like my life purpose is to validate, because it's important. It's important for people to put in the reference. We understand through analogies and storytelling. And this is real life storytelling, and especially with things like VR on the cusp, who even knows anymore? what's going to be happening. So I think it's good to get the foundation of this whole thing basically in the right light and to get it with the right ethics and the right morals and to just sort of grow organically because it's already grown. It just needs to be, it needs to be like infrastructured. But if it's going to be infrastructured, it needs to happen the right way. Otherwise, we're going to end up with the same old tired, BS that we have right now with the world, where politics is, I'm not getting into politics, but basically here is basically, giant, douche versus turd sandwich. South Park called this years ago, and that's what you're stuck with. And it's the sorry, it's like the worst storytelling ever. So I just want to get past all that stuff, and that's the ambition. So if you've sat through all of this and this whole rant, and if you stayed past the whole tournament thing, like if you're a player, I really, cool. That's awesome. And when I meet you the next time, let's just jump into a cool conversation, man. Like that's the funny thing about this. It doesn't really take much to just try and work with people on something better. Like I guess you just have to communicate, and that's what I'm realizing right now. So I'm going to do a better job trying to do that. I'll try and do some of these every now and again, and maybe something, something a little different for people that I unfortunately don't get to talk to as much or don't see because, I got a lot of love for those people, and it stinks that sometimes it gets to be like years where you don't see people, even if, even days where you don't talk to someone, it stinks. So I'm going to be doing my best to keep up with that while trying to move forward with everything else I'm trying to do. So yeah, thanks for watching. Pretty cool if you watched, and yeah, I guess I'll see you the next time around. Thanks.